he led us up the stairs to the living room where the entire band was standing there in position, all their instruments on, ready to go. Prince walked over, picked up his guitar, and said, "Hit it," and played the 11 minutes for the three of us. He did virtually the same 11 minutes that we ended up doing at the Super Bowl, but the setup was amazing.
The TV executive was dumbstruck. At one point, he pulled out his lighter and began to sway to the music.
You know, it's kind of awkward when there's just three of you standing in a living room while the guy's playing his Super Bowl halftime for you. But it was pretty amazing. He knew how to orchestrate, whether it was orchestrated deal or orchestrate the halftime. He knew how to orchestrate.
Welcome back to Night Child Reviews. Just a quick heads up, there's a new podcast coming out, which is quite interesting, and I just want to briefly talk about it. There's 6 25-minute episodes, and the first one is about Prince. The other episodes are about other artists, and it's called Night of Show. And it's basically a kind of behind-the-scenes look. It talks to promoters, musicians, guitar technicians, production managers, and people who were there at pivotal points in an artist's career. And it's quite interesting in terms of this episode because this centers around the era Prince was doing the Las Vegas residency. It talks about the remarkable Super Bowl performance and reveals how pretty disastrously the rehearsal went and how badly it went and how the tension was there and the nerves were quite fraught. It also talks about the musicology tour, briefly mentions the 21 Nights tour, and it's quite interesting because it also details a kind of the interactions, shall we say, that Prince and Michael Jackson had and how bizarre some of those might seem. And it certainly is interesting how they both bounced off each other. They both kind of inspired each other to push for more and more. I will say, though, that some of the comments in this podcast are really quite interesting. Now, I should point out it's a podcast that it's not just some guys talking. It's kind of very tightly scripted. It's very controlled. It's more of a radio program than a podcast in a sense. But some of the aspects are quite controversial, where Prince talks about religion. There's a few comments, in terms of how he possibly dealt with people or things he did, and obviously some of it we've heard before, but some of it was certainly new to me, and I'll be really quite interested to see what you think about it. I've put a link to the podcast in the comments below. As I say, in future episodes, they're going to be talking about other musicians and other artists, and if you go to their website, that will tell you the other artists that they're going to talk about. Obviously, hearing from concert promoters, particularly with Prince, because Prince was someone, as we know, who often later in his career didn't want contracts, and this reveals how he, proceeded without a contract and was doing things in a very different way because he'd kind of had that contractual issue before. And it's really revealing into the way Prince thought and some of the things in terms of how he dealt with people. And it's quite interesting. I'm quite open to your thoughts here about what you think about some of the comments in what Prince has obviously reported to have said. And I'm quite fascinated. It's a well put together half an hour, but it's certainly, sometimes you listen to it and you think, wow, I didn't know that, or that sort of threw me a little bit. So anyway, guys, please let me know what you think. It's certainly a very interesting podcast, and the very fact that they chose to do Prince first, they said because Prince was very much this incredible icon, and this is an incredible time for Prince where he hit, in a sense, in terms of the audience, through the Super Bowl and Vegas and 21 Nights, audiences that just spanned across the world. So anyway, if you just give it a quick listen. Like I say, a 25-minute episode, that's all it is. Check out the website, definitely worth sort of listening to, and let me know your comments below. I'd be quite interested to see what you think, because you guys, for me, are the gauge and the kind of barometer of the Prince community and other communities, and I just, be very intrigued to see what you think. Thank you.